So Samsung's S25 flagships generally went down about as well as a dysentery sandwich. But there's no time for Samsung to hide under their duvet, have a bit of a cry and devour a whole tub of Haagen-Dazs, because they're on the cusp of launching yet another blower, the considerably less expensive Galaxy A56 5G. Galaxy A56 5G. I'm probably going to stick with a pointless 5G at the end, even though pretty much every phone now is 5G. But the Galaxy A56 5G should be a capable mid-range smartphone if it's out like last year's A55 5G, offering that familiar Samsung One UI experience and overall design, but hopefully with the proper kick up the arse for the performance and the battery life. Now, if Sammy follows its usual release schedule for the Galaxy A series, you can expect the A56 to emerge sometime in March. So basically the same time that Nothing is set to launch two new mid-range blowers, you've got Google possibly spaffing out the Pixel 9a, and Apple ruining my year by vomiting out another iPhone SE brick. So yeah, busy times for YouTube tech twats like my good self. At this rate, I might actually get myself a proper job for a bit of a rest. So what can we expect from the Galaxy A56? Will it be a proper upgrade over last year's A55? And what is the worst Nick Cage movie ever made? These questions will be answered in a half-arsed, non-committal fashion in yet another scrotum-gropingly tense episode of Techspert Weekly. So yes, that there internet is positively abuzz with Galaxy A56 leaks and rumours, and possibly not much of that online chat will actually have you recoiling in shock or surprise. You can expect the usual flat-edged iPhone-style design with curved corners, plus a completely flat display with a selfie cam orifice housed up top, just the same as the previous generation. Although hopefully those bezels have slimmed down a wee bit. The front and back ends are apparently once again slathered in Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, just like the A55, so scratches and cracks will hopefully be kept at bay, although you can expect some small nicks to suddenly appear on the screen every now and then for no reason, just to really annoy you. And just like the previous model, the Samsung Galaxy A56 should be fully water resistant, so you can drop it in your pint with zero repercussions. Except of course for having to drink a beer with pocket fluff and bits of dead skin floating in it. To be fair, still better than a pint of Foster's. As always, the Galaxy A56 should come in a bright selection of colours. And in fact, the most thrilling design change for this generation appears to be a single new camera housing that hugs all three of those pokey out lenses. I don't know about you, but I'm so excited I think I might have just dislocated my pelvis. And it doesn't look like Samsung has made massive changes for that display tech either, or indeed any changes at all really. Like the A55, the Galaxy A56 will once again rock a 6.6-inch Super AMOLED display slapped on that front end, with full HD resolution and 120Hz refresh, although this generation's panel may be a wee bit brighter with slightly improved contrast. Although if you're sensitive to the old OLED flicker, don't expect any improvements to the PWM dimming. Now these Galaxy blowers often live or die on the chipset that powers them, and if you were hoping for some Snapdragon action stuffed into the Galaxy A56, well, I'm sorry to be the one to piss in your pint. The brains of this mid-ranger will be yet another Exynos effort of Samsung's own creation, this time the Exynos 1580 if these leaks aren't a squelchy sack of trouser juice. Now, I haven't tested out any phones with the Exynos 1580, mostly because the Galaxy A56 should be its debut outing. But some early benchmarking type shenanigans suggest that it will be a step up for gamers compared with what we saw in the A55, boasting an upgraded Xclipse 540 GPU that can hopefully cope with a good bit of Wuthering Waves or Genshin action. However, the CPU tweaks in the Exynos 1580 suggest that Samsung is more concerned with boosting the old efficiency for this generation, which hopefully will mean a bump to the battery life, despite the Galaxy A56 once again running with a 5000 mAh capacity cell. Maybe one of these days Samsung will jump on the whole silicon carbon bandwagon, but don't hold your breath. And the Galaxy A55's battery was merely, alright, so certainly an extra hour or two of screen on time would be very much appreciated for those longer days, especially as, of course, like all Samsung Galaxy blowers, the A56 will suffer the usual woes of teeth-grindingly slow recharging speeds. Of course, stuff like Genshin Impact didn't exactly play super fluidly on the old A55, especially if you refused to drop the visual quality. So here's hoping things play a bit more smoothly on the Galaxy A56, helped along by the upgraded GPU. Now you may have noticed Samsung got a fair bit of flack for sticking with old camera tech for the S25 flagship, so hopefully it's braced for even more jabbing fingers and harsh language when the Galaxy A56 is announced. Because word on the web is those optics are once again recycled from the previous generation. And this means a 50 meg main shooter, same as the A55, backed by a 12 meg ultra-wide and some pointless macro twatbaggery. Of course, Sammy is likely to introduce a sackload of fresh new camera features to try and appease fans, just as it did with its S25 blowers. Stuff like the best shot tool for snapping pics of those gurning idiots you call your family, as well as log shooting for home movies and that audio eraser effort, which, to be perfectly honest, is kind of a hot slice of arse cheddar. And of course you'll have the full One UI 7 experience with as much AI-type bollockry as Samsung can wodge in there. You can certainly expect similar translation and summarization type malarkey as the S25 series, although the A56 may have to jump online more for these to work, as the Exynos' NPU won't be quite as hench as the Snapdragon 8 Elites. And web whisperings also suggest that Samsung may boost its software support pledge for the Galaxy A56 so it's more in line with those flagships, so possibly up to 6 years of OS updates and security patching versus 4 OS updates and 5 years of patching, which we saw on the Galaxy A55. As for the rest of the specs, well, the A56 should come stacked with 8 gigs of RAM and a choice of 128 or 256 gigs of storage, expandable via micro SD, plus a good bit of stereo speaker action, but bugger all headphone jack as usual. And it's expected to cost around £450, hopefully a wee bit less, as Samsung did actually slash a tenner off the price of the A55 down to £439. Now right now, Samsung hasn't set a launch date for the Galaxy A56, unless they've literally done it in between me saying this bit to the camera right now and actually uploading the bloody video, in which case of course feel perfectly free to call me a thick down in the comments below. But what do you reckon about the Galaxy A56 5G? Is Samsung in for yet another tirade of online abuse? Should they possibly stock up on crates full of Kleenex right now? Well, definitely let us know what's going on in that lovely wee head of yours down again in the comments below. And now it's time for the part of the show that also requires an entire box full of Kleenex, although it won't be your eyes leaking liquid. It's viewer comments. Viewer comments.
Am I getting through to you?
Alright, let's kick off this week with VoidVoid5151, who says, insults Musk but drives a Tesla. App on phone, I agree, Musk is cringe as though. Oh no, no, I absolutely do not drive a Tesla. Christ. I'd rather drive a Morris Marina with 4 flat tyres that's on f***ing fire than a bloody Tesla. The reason I've got the Tesla app is because when I had the solar panels installed, the only option for the battery was the Tesla Powerwall. I'll tell you what, if Tesla cars are anywhere near as reliable as the app, I'm surprised they don't all just crumble to dust when they hit 35 miles per hour. So I usually have to log into this sodden thing at least 3 times before it actually lets me do anything. And then for the past couple of days, it's just been shown the Powerwall is offline, which is really helpful. So yeah, Elon, just another word for dick splat. Fantastic Mr. Boombastic says, add more audio track, fire emoji, fire emoji. I just don't even know where to start with that. Do you mean like just add in more music in general? Because believe me, I would love to, you know, blend in a little bit of extra metal or something like that, but the last time I stuck even a single second of one of my favorite metal tracks into one of my videos, it got completely demonetized. And as well we know, your Uncle Spurt needs that ad money for his liquor. You wouldn't like me without my liquor. Sadman Rakin says, where do you get your wallpapers? Well, that didn't take long. Wall.alphacoders.com, wall.alphacoders.com, that's where my wallpapers come from, wall.alphacoders.com. Now last week I was banging on yet again about my favourite all-time subject, the iPhone SE, and lots of commenters agree that rather than just using the boring old iPhone 14 design, this would have been the perfect opportunity for Apple to resurrect the excellent iPhone 13 mini. So Cole Weezer says should have used the iPhone 13 mini chassis. 20 Gully says would have much preferred a new mini, a sequel to the last 13 mini. CCB says 13 mini body with a silicon carbon battery. I mean, that would be absolutely the dream. Nice and compact, but with battery life that isn't a complete cake. Logan Rogers says, can't we just have a new iPhone 5C, a sturdy composite chassis that doesn't require a suit of armour, a flush-mounted camera, so no bump, and a sub $400 price tag? In other words, can't Apple make a phone more like the Moto G? Yeah, and then if they can slap Android on it as well, then Bananarama. Sharp VidTube says, the worst Nick Cage film I saw was Left Behind. That describes what I feel the iPhone SE4 will be. Gotta say, I've never actually even heard of that one, I don't think. Hang on, bit of googly action. Ooh, a Christian apocalyptic thriller, apparently. Bloody Christ, that sounds like an absolute dream. Oh my god, it got a perfect 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think I've ever seen a film with 0% on it. Even bloody Jaws the Revenge has 2%. Squix Lux says, no way, you reminded me of the Nicolas Cage browser extension for Chrome. Changes literally every picture on every web page to the man himself. Did it to a mate's browser back in the day, and he had no idea what was going on. The internet used to be such a carefree place. I've got to admit, I do occasionally miss the days where pretty much the entire internet consisted of atrocious GeoCities websites just made by regular folk. Back when it was apparently compulsory for every single webpage to have some god-awful background music, usually around 5 seconds of distorted drum and bass on a bloody loop. And occasionally something completely random would happen, like a bright pink unicorn would pop up to obscure all of the text, which incidentally was written in size 8 Comic Sans and just a slightly different shade of green to the background. And yet it was all somehow rather charming and somehow less obnoxious than what we've got now with all these bloody constant cookie ad pop-ups. But yes, I do remember the Nicolas Cage extension. That was particularly good if you went on Facebook and all of your mates were basically replaced with Nicolas Cage. Someone sharing a picture of their newborn and it's just Nicolas Cage and Vampire's Kiss. But yeah, absolutely bloody adored those stupid, pointless browser extensions. I think there was one as well where it made it look like there was a pube on your computer monitor, so you'd of course stick that on your mate's PC when they're off taking a piss, and they get back and they spend ages scratching at it. Really highbrow stuff. Mr. Mono YouTube says, what anime show at 2 minutes 48, please? Let me check that. Oh, that is the He-Man reboot, Kevin Smith's He-Man reboot, which you can find on Netflix, which is definitely worth the watch. Especially as I believe there is an episode where Evelyn says twat, although that's possibly just something that my whiskey-addled brain just made up. The Bush down the street says, Uncle Spurt is my real dad. I mean, I literally can't remember approximately 70 to 80% of my entire existence, so anything's possible, although if it's a handout you're after, you're out of luck. As anyone said, I've liquidized your assets. I've run out of time now, so better make these the last couple of comments for the week. So Jason McMeekin says, what we all want to know about is the Nothing Phone 3 and 3A, thanks. I did include those in my best upcoming smartphones episode, which was 2-3 weeks ago now. But apparently the 3A and the 3A Plus or a 3A Pro will be launching at the beginning of March, so not long to wait now, ha ha ha. And Matt Sidford says, Chris, you've been reviewing blows for years now, since you had hair and more than half of your liver. What's your favourite from over the years? Bloody hell, yes, I've been reviewing feature phones and smartphones for like 15 years now, just over in fact. Christ, that's terrifying. So that is a bloody tough one. I mean, the first thing that immediately pops into my brain is the good old classic Google Nexus phones from back in the day. Those were absolutely banging value for money, of course done by a host of different manufacturers, LG, HTC, etc. Just stupidly good value. And then of course OnePlus took up the reins there as well with their original flagships back in the day, which again was sort of 300-400 quid, and yet just as good as any flagship out there. The likes of the LG G2 and the HTC One M8 and also, oh god, the Huawei P20 as well, absolute stone cold classics. They'll just always inhabit a dark little spiderwebbery corner of my whiskey-soaked heart. And of course, if we're going even further back than that, I absolutely adored the pants off of the Sony Walkman phones. I had one of those for a good long while. Not having to carry around a clunky, massive MP3 player anymore was just a massive relief. Anyway, massive thank you to everyone who commented last week. Apologies if I didn't quite get to your comments, but please do tap down in the comments below, and we'll merrily jaunt our way through as many of those as possible next week. And speaking of next week, what the is next week? Well, next week is half term, so your Uncle Spurt is buggering off back to the homeland with the Sprog. It'll be dark and cold, but there are still pubs where you can get a pint for less than £5 bloody quid. And this does unfortunately mean no Techspert Weekly next Friday, but never you fear, young'un, because I've got plenty more tech shenanigans coming next week, quite a few embargoes lifting. So for instance, you can expect something Vivo shaped on the Monday, OnePlus is potentially launching something as well on the Tuesday, and then we've got something Oppo shaped coming on Thursday, February the 20th. So busy bloody times all round. Yeah, it's been a bit of a mental year so far for tech. So if you want to hear me bang on even more about shiny shit, well, definitely please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell if you haven't already. Massive thanks for sticking with me to the bitter end of whatever this was. Please do make sure you have yourselves an absolutely cracking weekend. Cheers everyone, I love you.